Hello. I really wish I could hire an AI to write this for me, but I can't. So we're here and we're coding. That's the docket. Um Nothing really more to say about it. What's the goal for today? Okay, yep. Cool, audio's working. Goal for today is timing structures. I started implementing them again. We implemented them fully before. We had timing structures working. We need to bring them into the rewrite. I'm also trying to refactor the code to make it a bit more organized. So let's just start with that while people filter in, because refactoring code's easy. Let's do playing a card next. Yeah, I'm working on. Let's just do that so we can switch between them easily and have the code a bit less zoomed out. So I'm working on bringing all of these kind of resolutions for different game states into their own files. Let's move playing a card over. I think I'll move like all of the bits of playing a card over. So choosing which card to play, playing the card, and then the cleanup after you play the card can all go in one file. So here, this will be something like play card resolve choose choices chooser input GS. Okay, and then we can go add that. Solution status. Okay. And then what are we giving this? We're giving it choices chooser input GS. Choices is going to be an object set, I would guess. Yep. Object set. Chooser is going to be a side. Input is going to be resolution input, and game state is going to be game state. Okay. So let's just bring that code in. You're still seeing starting soon. Good shout. You should now be seeing some code. Not that there's much to look at right now. This is very boring refactor work, just to get the stream started. Chooser is no longer something that needs to be done like that. Okay. Okay, that should be playing a card rewritten. What's our beef here? Get rid of that semicolon. Next up, chooser is happy. It's happy. Love that. Okay, playing a card. Play card. Resolve play. Card. Player. Card is an object ID, right? Yeah, okay, so we'll card, player. Do we need input for this? We don't. GS. Play card. Resolve play. Card is an object ID. Player is a side. Game state is the game state. Probably refactor some of this to be a bit nicer to work with as well. For example, I don't like all of this reliance on these get mutes. I kind of just want this to fail silently if it's given an invalid target, because that shouldn't ever really happen. So let's rewrite it slightly. Okay, so now this just needs to Yeah, we'll just say if your card choice was bad, then pick again, please. I mean, this should actually do cleanup, right? This should say, hey, we can't get the object, so... what do I do in, like... What happens in move object if you try and move something that doesn't exist? We just crash, okay. Just crash is a valid response to this thing doesn't exist, but... Maybe these should be giving something a bit more fine-grained than this. Like, errors are a valid state. But I just kind of don't care. Like, what does it mean? Okay, so you're... This would be that the thing is either not a card or not a... Yeah, this would mean that the thing you're playing isn't a card, which is complete nonsense. So the correct thing to do in that case is probably just to played thing, not a card. Is to just crash the program and accept that that's the reality of the situation. Okay, we turn it face up. We do that. And then obj.kind.asCardMute. Yeah, playing non-card object is a better error message. Okay, that should be that refactored. Next up is postcard played. Play card, resolve cleanup, card, game state. Cleanup process is nice and straightforward. Trash the card that was played after its effects have resolved. Okay, that should be everything there. Done. Okay. Then it's just the steps of installing a card that I need to do the same process for. Okay, we'll make a new module. This is pure procrastination, by the way. This is procrastinating implementing timing structures, but it's, you know, it's going to make me feel better when this bit's done. So we'll just accept that I'm procrastinating a little bit. Okay, so here we're going to want install, resolve choose, choices, chooser, input game state. And all of that has to happen. Choices is an object set. Yeah, okay, so choices is an object set. Chooser is a side. Input is resolution input. And game state. Okay. And then we import all the things we need to import to make these things happen. Gonna be a big refactor of some of this stuff at some point, but for now, that will do. Okay. Then after you choose what you're going to install, we have to choose where you're going to install it, and that's this code. Install resolve location. Both of these are object. So yeah, both of these we can do this with. Okay. Pubfn resolve location. Installing installer. Do we need the input for this? Let's just see. Resolution status. We do need the input, right? Because you need to input where you're installing it. Game state. Okay. That does that. And then after you choose where you install, you have to choose what you're going to get rid of during that installation, which is this code here. Installing to installer input GS. Installing game state. Object set new. Yep, we need to determine the cost to install as well. Okay, installing to installer. Okay, that's that refactored out. And then lastly, the resolution for when it is installed. What's this going to need? This is going to need card to and game state. Okay. Install, resolve, installed, card to game state. Card to game state. Okay. That is the refactor I wanted to do done. Other than moving some of the big objects out of this resolution, some of the big enum definitions out of here, that's the refactoring I wanted to do in here, and we're down to a much more respectable 250 lines of code to navigate. Let's start having a look back at timing structures. So currently we have mulligan, and then it doesn't know where to go from there. So let's... Where do we go from there? Netrunner rules. Starting the game. Yeah, we just go straight to corp first turn. Okay, so we're through to turn timing structure. Paid ability windows and all of that jazz. I should probably break this file up a bit more then. This thing's important and can stay. Instruction source is only actually needed for instructions, so this should be in here. And then we should be able to get rid of it from somewhere else. Get rid of those. And import instruction source from your child now. Right, targeting still needs instruction source, but that's fine. It is instruction source. And then paid abilities need instruction source. What for? What are you using instruction source for? Right, for setting what triggered the resolution. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, okay, happy with that refactor. Resolution step can stay, unfortunately, as can its resolver, as can status, as can input, and input kind. Okay, that's all done. So now we're through to corp turn structure. Yeah. So we're not going to worry about the specific instructions that happen. As long as paid ability windows happen at the right times and things happen when they should, it's fine. Because while technically there is a checkpoint after each of these instructions, I don't think there's any cards that say when recurring credits refill, right? So the checkpoint after this is effectively void. It doesn't exist for a reason. We can check that, I guess. So no, nothing cares about recurring credits refilling. Even if I go back to like old stuff. Yeah. So like that checkpoint, this might as well not be an instruction. It might as well not have a checkpoint after it. Later on, we can make sure that these each get checkpoints after them. But for now, I think we'll just implement them doing their thing. Because, for example, nothing fires off of the corp gaining clicks, right? Or really the only thing that fires triggers here is turn begins. And sometimes draw. So how do we want to implement this? What's the situation here? The situation is that the start game sequence needs to add in a step after resolving sequence, which gives us the main kind of flow of the game. I guess it would be start corp turn. I'd probably start turn side corp is the better way to do it, because we're going to reuse a lot of code between the corp and the runner turn. So yeah, that's probably what we need to add. Now the important thing is that starting a turn is not the same thing as turn begins, because Netrunner is a silly game. Ooh, sorry, my breathing's struggling a bit. Apologies for the loud cough. I'm muted for the louder one, so rest assured I spared you as best I can. Okay, so how do we feel about this? I actually don't know. When do once per turn abilities come back? Do they come back at the start of the corpse turn, or do they come back when the corpse turn begins? Once per turn? You know, I don't know off the top of my head which one of those things is true. Basically, it's just, can you use a once per turn ability in the pre-start turn paid ability window, and then use it after the post-start turn paid ability window? Or do you have to, like, when is your last opportunity to use a once per turn for maximum value? Is it before the runner? Is it in the runner's pre-discard? Well, post-discard paid ability window? Or is it in your pre-draw paid ability window? I don't know. Anyone know off the top of their head? I'll look it up. Netrunner once per turn. Before turn. You know, I'll figure it out at some point. For now, it doesn't matter too much. Okay, so start turn. So we have two options here. We could put just the start turn step in and let the start turn step replace itself with the next step when it finishes. So like the start turn step would replace itself with the paid ability step, followed by the recurring credit step, and then the recurring credit step would replace itself with the turn begin step. Or I could have the sequence just inject all of these at once and then inject all of these. And I think it's better to go one at a time, because then when we have to implement terminals, it's easier for us to hook in. And instead of having to write the logic to skip over steps, we can just not add the steps. That seems sensible in my head. Right, we would just, when we would go to add the next resolution step, we would just have a like terminal played flag that tells us to not add in those steps. I guess it's worth checking how terminals actually work from a rules perspective. When a player's action phase is forced to end, the current step of the action phase ends and all remaining steps are skipped. Yep. Any currently open priority windows closed? Yep. Any currently resolving? Okay. Yeah, so it is just don't add in any more steps for the rest of this turn. So doing it one at a time is better. Okay. In that case, let's do it slightly differently. Instead of pushing start turn, we will push gain clicks. We'll timing. Start turn's really convenient though. No, yeah, we'll say start turn side, and then start turns. No, it has to step through one at a time, so that we can hook off of terminals firing or any other effects that can end the turn immediately. Just gonna add this here real quick so that we can do a refactor. That'll do. Okay, let's change this to timing. We'll call this turn gain clicks. And then we say we go to gain clicks for side. I think that's the best way to do this. So gain clicks for side. And then we create a new thing called turn.rs for all of the turn resolution functions. Okay. So we'll do turn. Resolve gain clicks side. GS, that should be all. There's no input needed for that. And then technically this should fire off a checkpoint and then fire off itself, but we're not going to bother with that. We're going to wait to implement checkpoints until I have an effect that needs them. Okay, resolve gain clicks. Pubfn resolve gain clicks needs a side and the game state. And it kicks back a status. Okay, so what does this do? This calls gs dot clicks dot. How did I implement this before? Was I just manually giving people clicks? Oh, I was just firing off the effect to gain clicks. That doesn't necessarily seem incorrect to do. Yeah, let's just do that. We'll fire off the effect to gain clicks. for the side. Right, yeah, because we have the timing instruction effects here for things that happen in the timing windows. So again, clicks. Should fire off. But we're also going to want to queue up the next thing. And the next thing is going to be a resolution, is going to be a step. Okay. So it's the paidability window, which I'll implement in a second. We'll just call this one poor for side so that they get priority. I'll implement this function in a sec. Followed by, after that paidability window, we have to hand back to the timing instruction because the paidability window is kind of like a layer that sits before it. And we'll do recurring credits refill. Is that approach going to work? No, because if an effect in this paidability window ends the turn, then you would never get your refill recurring. Okay, so we need the paidability window to just be aware of what's next in sequence, which is fine. That's how costs work as well, so that they can change what's in sequence if you don't pay them. Resolution step, refill recurring for corp is the actual thing that comes next. Okay. All right, let's go add things to our resolution steps. So a paidability window has a priority for side. I guess it has the active player, which is always starts as the turn player. And then it has should end as a Boolean flag. That gets set to false if you do something. So it will start false. Then whenever it's received, it becomes true. Unless you do something, it becomes false. And if you would ever pass a paidability window with should end as true, then it ends the paidability window. Yes. Okay, for now, we don't actually have any paidabilities to fire, but detection for them will go in the paidability window resolution. For now, let's just go and implement... Oh, and a paidability window also has to know what comes next, which should be a... Yeah, it should be a box resolution step. Okay. Then I can add poor. So poor, we need the side, and then we need to return. Oh, and we need next. And it's created, should end is false. It becomes true when it's received. Okay. That should be what creating a poor looks like. Okay. And then advancing a poor, we can just do in the paidability resolution. Okay, that's fine. Now we have an easy way to make a paidability window with the correct setup. We just need to add refill recurring. Not that the corp has recurring credits in current NSG Netrunner. Yeah, no. None of these are NSG cards. What's even the most recent? Okay. Making news, sure. But the last recent is Condi Plaza. Yep, fair. Well, We'll still implement this. There's no indication that it's being removed. It just doesn't need to do anything right now for Corp. Or for Runner, because our test set of cards doesn't have any recurring credits, but we'll build the step in anyway. Okay, so we have 2 that need implementing here. We have paid ability windows, and we have refill recurring, which I'm going to call turn refill recurring. That seems right. Okay. What do you not like? You probably just want an asterisk there. Cool. Okay, and then in here, all right, that is what gaining clicks looks like. We fire off the gain click effect. And apply instruction effects currently just applies them straight up. It should have interrupts and a post effect checkpoint and all of that stuff, but we'll worry about that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, that is that done. Okay, so paid ability window. We'll implement that next. So this is going to be pour resolve. Active should end next. GS input. And we need a new resolution module called pour. Okay, so active is side. Should end is a boolean. I'm going to rename should end to pass ends. I think that's more clear. Next is a resolution step. Input is a resolution input. Hey, hey Game of Droids, am I overlapping the AMT today? Well, probably a bunch of people leaving for that. Yeah, doing really well. Hope you're doing well too, and good luck with the AMT. Okay, so how does this need to work? We need to know that your input Okay, so there's a couple things you can do in a paid ability window. You can activate a paid ability. That's probably the most prominent thing you can do. Or you can pass. So we just need inputs that model that behavior of activate paid ability or pass. Best way to handle that, just an optional value inside our input. So let's go and define a new input kind. Our new input kind we're going to tell people about is activate paid ability. You have got a set of paid ability choices, which is just a set of objects and numbers, because those are all of the paid ability references. We'll tidy this up at some point and make paid ability reference a more formally defined thing. Where is the function that normal summons Moyi and reveals a worm to special token? So the function that normal summons Moyi is in install here. It's this resolve installed here. You can see Moyi goes face up and becomes active. And the triggered effect on Moyi to reveal a worm from your hand isn't implemented because I haven't implemented checkpoints yet. So this is a Yu-Gi-Oh joke for anyone in chat that doesn't know how Yu-Gi-Oh works. These are Yu-Gi-Oh words that have been said. Okay, so those are your valid choices. And that's really like all you need to know about activating a paid ability is, hey, here's the paid abilities that are currently legal to activate. Which means that you can afford them. They have the potential to change the game state. Good old Hutaputakuticus. And they are active. and meet any static conditions that apply, which will just be coding. Okay. Then we also need to have the input that is the answer to that, and the answer to activate paid ability. Is resin considered a paid ability? I know they happen in the same window. It might be different according to things like the CR. Resin is a thing you can do in a paid ability window, but it is not a paid ability. You are right. I should maybe represent resable targets in here. Same for scoreable, actually. Yeah. Okay, good shout. So resable is an object set, and scoreable is an object set. So here I'll say activatable. Yep. So we have activatable abilities, resable objects, and scoreable objects. Great shout, Game of Droids. Okay, and then our input, we can say so I'll call this paid ability. I'll just call it paid ability. Okay, and then in here we have paid ability. So this is for all the things that happen at paid ability speed. I guess technically also no. Yeah, interface is weird. That will just change when things are activatable, as will there being unbroken subroutines. Anyway, paid ability here for the actual input you need to send is you need to send us I mean, you kind of have two options, right? You can have paid ability choice, or you can have paid ability pass. And if you pass, that's it. You're just passing. If you're making a choice, then you need to give us one of these things. Tell you what, it's give us one of these things, or give us nothing. That's how we're doing this. If you give us nothing, then you're declining your responsibility to activate a paid ability. You're passing. So activate, res, or score. So those are the things you can give us as actions. Okay. So now in here, we want to say let resolution input paid ability paid ability choice is equal to input, else return paid ability choice. You just called it paid ability. Resolution status, waiting for input, resolution input kind, paid ability. Okay. That needs a semicolon. This needs a to do. That needs a semicolon. Okay. So here we need to list everything activatable, everything resable, and everything scoreable. No, I'll do that later. For now, okay. You either then give us one of these or give us none of these. So really, we also then need to check match activate res score. And then if it is you know what, I can do this. I can say if matches some. How's the best way to do this? Let's check how many. Let number chosen equal activate.is sum. It's Boolean. Let count is activate res score dot into iter dot filter and n is sum dot count. Okay, that's going to tell us how many things have been chosen. Right, and it doesn't like these because they're different. Okay, we'll just do... We'll call it is sum beforehand. So yeah, we're going to see how many things have been chosen. And then if... if count is greater than 1, we also need to do that. You know what? Fn determine PA inputs for a given game state and side, which is going to give us back a resolution status, and it's going to give us back this thing. Here we can say return determine PA inputs, and in here we can say determine PA inputs. Okay, so if you've chosen more than one thing, hey, you need to give a valid input. And then if you've chosen something that is not in, and then if count is equal to 0, then we know you have, you actually want to pass. So we're going to do gs dot resolve in sequence. And this is where we'll handle if a flag was set by resolving whatever you resolved to end the turn when the paidability window ends. This is where we would detect that and not do this, and rather we would have to inject something else. We'll figure that out when we come to it. It'll work. I know how it'll work in the back of my head. I just can't explain it briefly. We punt us through to next. Okay, and then resolution status resolved. So if you don't choose anything, we don't go to next actually. We go if pass ends, then we go to next. Else, we actually need to just add the next paidability window. Okay, and whenever you create a new paidability window, side has to be whoever's not the active player. Now we can call not. So we want whoever's not the active player. And we want to preserve next. But here we want to call paidability window directly, because active is going to be whoever's not active. Next is going to be box new next. We'll rebox it. And should end is going to be true, because whenever you create a new paidability window, passing ends. Okay, so that's what we do if the count is 0. And then if we make it here, then we know our count is exactly 1, because it's not greater than 1 or we'd have got caught here, and it's not 0 or we'd have got caught here. So now we just need to determine which thing it is. And do that. To do paidability thing. Okay, after we've done that, we would need to resolve in sequence, and we need to add in a paidability window. But we retain control, and should end is false because we have done something. Basically, we did a thing, which means that should end has become false. That should be all of the logic for paidability windows. encoded in such a way where I should only need one return at the end here. Okay, so if the count's 0, that all looks right to me. Okay, so that is paidability windows implemented. Nice. Okay, after paidability windows, what did we get? We got cannot find resolve in poor. What did I call it? Resolve. Okay. Now you're going to complain about something else, but that's fine. I also kind of want to just get rid of this and just manually do it because yeah, I prefer just having it manual here. Paidability window, active is side. Next is box new that. Should end is false because it's a new paidability window. Okay. Resolution. What's your beef? That's your beef. Okay, I got there in the end. Do we even need the dot clone? Yes, cool. Okay, and then we have recurring refill recurring. Resolve, refill, recurring, side game state. Okay, pubfn, resolve, refill, recurring. We're going to need to apply instruction effects for timing instruction, refill, recurring. And then we have to do, so again, there'd be a checkpoint triggered by this call here. Time begins. Nice. Turn begins, side. Okay, let's go add that effect. Okay, so refill recurring for side. Doesn't do anything because we haven't implemented it yet. And it has the potential to change the game state even if there's no. Well, I guess if an ability said refill recurring credits, it would depend if it was available, but for now we'll just say that it always does. Because as far as I'm aware, there are no abilities that need you to know whether or not there are refillable credits available. Okay, that's that done. Which means we are through to turn begins for a side, which is just a marker that gets passed and then a load of checkpoints fire. That's really it. It shouldn't have really much resolution implementation other than handing off to mandatory draw if it's the corp, or not that if it's the runner. And then this step is fake. We don't worry about this step. Okay. Yeah, so priority is weird as a term. When you look at the way where's the section on paidability windows? There is a whole section on them somewhere. Here we go. So it's priority window. Yeah. Yeah, fair. I'll reterm it to priority. I'm not 100% sure that it's clearer, but I think it's fine. Okay, that should be that done. Oh, actually, this should say chooser is side. Chooser is side. Okay. Cool. We will need the game state for this eventually to find all of the stuff that you can activate, res, or score. Okie dokie. Where are we at? We are at this doesn't implement turn begins. Resolution step. Turn begins. Turn resolve begins. Side. Go back up to turn. Resolve begins. Side, side. Game state, game state. Checkpoint should happen here. But no, not yet. So this here, we actually need to know which side you're on for where we go next. Because if you're the corp, we're going over to resolution step, turn, mandatory draw. And if we are the runner... Yeah, no, that's very valid. What are we looking for here? We are looking for back to timing structures. The runner after there begins paidability window, turn begins, corp does turn begins draw action. Here you do turn begins action. Okay, so here we actually need to push the paidability window and then the action step. So it's the right, yes, you go to pre-action paidability window. So we want to do the paidability window for the runner. Should not end. And then the next step after it is going to be the resolution step action for side. Okay, 2 more resolution steps to add. This is it now. This is going to be... We're going to be doing this in a loop until everything loops back around on itself for the turn structure. So we have turn action. And we have turn mandatory draw. And action has a side. Okay. What's the problem here? I didn't pass in the game state. Resolution step. Turn mandatory draw. Resolve mandatory draw. Side and game state. No side here, it's just the corp. Okay, back up to turn. Mandatory draw. This is just going to look like this. Without the side. And where the effect we fire off is timing instruction mandatory draw. Which doesn't have a side. And then our next thing in sequence is the corpse pre-action paidability window. Which is going to look like that. Okay. That brings us through to the turn action. Now this will need input because we'll need to know which action you're choosing to take out of your menu. And we'll need to determine all of the available actions and all of that good stuff, which is any action that has the potential to change the game state that you can afford the cost on. Okay. Take actions until you run out of clicks. I guess this is also where we check to see if you are out of clicks, then you don't actually get prompted. We don't check for an input for action. We just punt forward back to... Yeah. Okay, so action is always take an action and then this paid ability window again. Do I want a nicer way to do this? I mean, the action phase is kind of its own self-contained little loop. Maybe I want something that does this better. Because and again, actions also need to encode what comes after them. Oh, that's tricky. Actions need to encode what comes after them because an action could also cause the sequence to terminate early by playing a terminal, obviously. Let's see what happens when you play a terminal again. The current step of the action phase ends and all remaining steps are skipped. Any currently open priority window closes, their associated abilities lose opening. Any currently resolving actions or abilities cease resolving and are considered complete. A checkpoint occurs. Let's worry about that when we implement a terminal rather than worrying about it too much now. I just need to leave the option open. Yeah. In that case, a paid ability window shouldn't know what comes after it, and I should refactor some of this. Yeah, let's do that now. Let's rip out next. I didn't like it anyway. It felt philosophically bad. Rip out next. Here, we just don't have anything to add back to the resolution chain, so we're just going to continue to whatever's next. And we'll trust whatever put the paid ability window in the timing structure to put in what comes next. And we'll build in better logic for skipping to the end of the action phase. Yeah, no, it's a whole thing, the way terminals work. I think probably the best thing to do is what I'm doing now, though. And I'll build in logic later for the effect end action phase, and the end action phase can actually just go through and clean up the resolution stack of anything that shouldn't be there and put the first step of the discard phase in place. It shouldn't be difficult because we just have to remove everything that is a turn instruction and leave anything else alone. So it shouldn't be too hard to implement a like sweep cleanup for terminals in a way. Okay, resolve action isn't implemented yet, so let's just comment that out. Okay, we'll do that. Okay. Where are we at with this? We need to now fix all of the stuff that puts a paid ability window into the sequence to also put whatever should come after. So that is here. Nope. Here. So when you add a paid ability window, what is this? This is resolving a paid ability window. Nothing comes after that. Okay, that's actually one's fine. It's the stuff in turn. So these ones here, these are just saying like replace myself. So the way to understand how these works is when we enter one of these functions, the current step is already kind of gone in a sense from this resolution stack. And only if we say we're waiting for an input will it get put back in place. Otherwise, it will you kind of only stuff's there is whatever you put there or whatever was behind you in the resolution stack. This is the game's secret stack that they like to pretend doesn't exist. It's there. So So it's these ones that need the work. So this one here is for gaining clicks. So gaining clicks, you then do that, and then you do your recurring credits refill step. Resolution step, turn, refill recurring for side. Comes after that. Okay. So if we're doing it this way, there's an argument that we should just load the whole turn up at once, and then load the flip side of the turn. Because the only reason we were doing this whole piecemeal steps, adding the step that comes after them, was so that the game could handle when it ends. And I guess arguably the action phase is always going to need that approach, because we can't know how many actions you're going to take, because you could play doubles or triples. So do we keep it that each turn step is responsible for bumping the next one on? I think I have to for now, but I might revisit that later. Yeah, that's how I feel about that, I think. Okay. Okay. What are we looking for here? All the other places we create a paid ability window. So that's here. So this is for the one that is immediately followed by turn action. Okay. And then the one in the mandatory draw that is also immediately followed by turn action for the corp. Okay. So that is those effects done. So now the mandatory draw step here is responsible for adding in this paid ability window and this action step. This action step is going to be responsible for adding in for resolving an action and then putting this paid ability window and itself back on. Well, resolving an action if there's unspent clicks. Otherwise, it should just not ask for input, proceed automatically down to discard. Yes, that makes sense, and that's implementable with what we have here. Okay. Timing structures. Okay, where are we? We are on this resolve action step here, which I do kind of want to implement properly, but for now, there needs to be actions for you to spend clicks on. Otherwise, what happens if there are no legal actions for you to take? I know this is impossible, but like if there was a card on the table that said you may not gain credits, then you can't do the click for credit option. And you're the runner, your deck is empty, you don't have enough credits to run any server. Like if you're just in like a hard lock position, I assume it just automatically, like you just don't spend your clicks. Because there's no pass, you can't voluntarily not spend clicks. Well, Corp can purge, but like outside of that, you can't voluntarily not spend your clicks. I mean, it will never happen in a real game. So I'm just going to make the ruling that it does just skip your action step if it can't find any actions for you, to make implementing resolve action easy so we can see the whole turn sequence whipping by. Or maybe I'll just have it only let us click for credit. That's actually a good way for us to test this. Sure. So turn pubfn resolve action for side and game state and input. Returning status. Okay, so none of the turn steps take input yet. Wild. Okay. So we get to resolve action. What are we doing here? We need to say first, does whoever it is have clicks left? Let clicks remaining equal gs.clicks for side. If clicks remaining is less than 1. The corp has no unspent clicks. Then gs dot sequence discard resolution step turn discard side return resolution status resolved. So that is our, if we're out of clicks, punt forward to here. Otherwise, we need to, we're getting there, turn discard. Okay. Otherwise, if you do have clicks, we need to find you an action, and we need to tell you can take that action if you aren't taking that action. So that is going to be let input equal resolution input. No, let resolution input take action. Actions are paid abilities, so they'll use the paid ability spec as well. But it's just going to be an object ID and it could be a basic action as well. We'll build a whole thing for this. For now, we're just gonna have it be click for credit, so nothing. But that'll get expanded later. Let's add this real quick. Take action. Currently doesn't have anything in it. Take action. Currently doesn't have anything in it. We'll add all of your options for taking actions in a bit. So let take action equal input else. Return waiting for input. Take action. Okay. So that is gonna give us hey, you have a click left. You need to tell us what action you need to take. Currently, only action we're going to have is click for credit. That's fine. Okay, then once you're taking an action, so here we will have take the action lull. And here we're just going to do gs dot take action side is side and action is basic action for the depends on the side. Basic action for the corp basic action to gain a credit. And equally, the only thing we'll have available here is the run a basic action to gain a credit. So that is taking an action. To do more than just click for credit. Okay. And then after you take your action, and taking the action does like it adds payments, it does all of that stuff on the stack, you'll see. After you take the action, we need to add into our sequence. And we need to add on the pre-action paid ability window and then add back in this action step itself. So the pre-action paid ability window is priority for the side should end as false. And the resolution step turn action for the side. So that should be our sequence then. Resolving sequence just puts them on back to front, by the way, because it's a stack. So this just lets me say do this, then do this. And if this adds more stuff, it adds more stuff that will happen before this. Okay, that should be resolving actions implemented. And now we're complaining about our lack of turn discard being implemented. So let's do that. Resolution step. We're getting really close to looping around the time instructions. Discard is also going to require you to choose cards to get discard. So let's just go back up to turn. Resolve discard. Side is side. Input is resolution input. Game state is game state. Resolution status. Okay. So what do we need to do for discarding? For like minimum discard implementation? Absolutely nothing. We are just gonna not do anything with the input. We're just gonna move on with our lives. We'll worry about implementing discarding card. I mean, implement discarding card is implemented. We'll worry about asking the user which cards they want to discard if their hand size is too big, etc. later. For now, let's just have this sequence. Paid ability window into lose unspent clicks. Okay. It should be called pass ends, not should end. So we'll resolve that, and then we will resolve. And each one also needs to encode its permissions as well. For like PR, PRS. I'll do that later. For now, we just want to get that basic back and forth passing implemented. So we're going to resolve discard in sequence. Discard, lose unspent. Resolution step, turn, lose unspent. Side. Okay. Turn, lose unspent. PubFN. Resolve lose unspent. Side game state. Status. Resolved. GS dot match GS dot. It's an instruction effect, really. How do I do those? It's apply instruction effects. Instruction effect. TI lose clicks. Side. And then for its implementations, we have got pretty straightforward. Implementation there. Always has the potential to change the game state, of course. I mean, kind of doesn't. Side. It only has the potential. This one's easy to implement, so let's just do it. This only has the potential to change the game state if side dot if corp clicks is 0 is greater than 0, or if runner clicks is greater than 0. Okay, nice, easy, has the potential to change the game state. Okay, that's lose clicks done. And then after you lose your unspent clicks, you have turn ends. Resolve sequence, resolution step, turn ends for side. Okay, so we go add that. which, like beginning, is just going to be a load of nothing happens. No inputs, just all the trigger. Oh, you would checkpoint and all the triggered abilities would fire, but we're not implementing those yet. So turn ends doesn't do anything at all, actually, except for GS dot move to gain allotted clicks. Resolution step, gain allotted turn gain clicks for the other side. And that should be the full timing loop. Okay, now how do we test it? We test it by grabbing our panel, starting our server here, and fixing any of the errors it's complaining about, which is going to be new kinds of input that we're not actually handling. So we are not handling a couple new input type requests in here. How do these work? We just do nothing if we can't. So this is for auto resolvers. Yeah, so this is the auto resolver. So this is saying like, hey, you know, you've asked to mulligan. Do we has the runner clicked one of the mulligan buttons? If they have, apply the mulligan. Otherwise, jog on. So this is where we handle input. And like auto paying for things that we can auto payment for. So like here, if a cost only costs clicks and credits and we can afford it, we just pay for it. Obviously, we'd need that to be more specific for when there's cards with hosted credits that are part of your pool and you need to choose where they come from. Right now, it's literally just grabbing the first credits objects it happens to find in your pool, which is not very efficient, but it works. It does the job. Okay. Missing take action and paid ability. Okay, so resolution input kind. So if they want us to take action, then we are just going to take... well, actually, no. We're going to want to do a button thing here. We want the button to be... button... basic action gain. Okay, I think that is how we want to handle that. Right? Yep, okay. And we're not going to step the resolution by mulliganing. We're going to step the resolution by giving it the input of take action. Okay, so that's going to give us our click for credit button. And then we just need paid ability. And paid ability, we're just going to auto pass. For now, step state.step resolution input, paid ability choice, none. So we're just gonna none means we're just gonna pass priority basically. Continue. Okay, so that should be those done. Are you building yet? What's stopping you from building now? Cannot find values. All right, yeah. This is for both sides. We don't care. Wait, no, it can't be for both sides because of that thing I did where okay, take action needs to at least tell us who's taking the action. Which we have that information readily available. We just need to propagate it to the game engine. Okay. So if side is side corp, then we're looking for that button press. If it is runner, we're looking for that button press. This is so that the corp button being pressed doesn't then immediately fire the runner button being pressed. Yeah, it's not nice, but it's the simplest way to implement that with the architecture I have here for the test server. Okay, what are we failing on now? I just need to dereference both of these. Okay, where do we get to? We building? We're building. Mulligan. Take action corp, waiting for input. Okay, let's go add that. So that is in render and it's here. And I need to say if our resolution input kind is take action, then we set our modal title to side action. And we are going to add the take action button. This is just going to say gain 1 credit. And then what was the thing I wanted this to say? It was BA gain runner. BA gain side is the full thing for it there. Okay. So that should give us that button working now. Mulligan, mulligan. Gain, gain, gain. Gain, 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 gain. Okay, what's going wrong here? WS button BA gain corp. WS button BA gain corp. If side is corp, step take action. What's gone wrong here? Do we get here? Bit of print debugging. Don't mind me. Mulligan, mulligan, gain, 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 gain. I don't see that message being printed. We don't get that. Okay. It is WS button BA gain corp though. That is the button signal. Oh, I know why. It will be in the actual command parser. Probably. Which is command. Yeah, here. We'll just say if it starts with WS button, then just forward the whole thing. Okay. That should work. Mulligan, mulligan. I don't like the clicks is showing as 0 here. All right, let's figure out why clicks is showing as 0. That's probably a good place to start, and then we'll worry about that infinite loop that just fired off. Because mulligan, mulligan, before we get to take action, DI gain click should fire. And we passed a load of paidability windows back and forth. You can see the paidability window passing happening. That's good. But yeah, TI gain clicks? Question mark. Effect. TI gain clicks. This got called. Right? This definitely got called. We can see this got called by debugging this to print when it gets called. Yeah, here, see? So that got called. Are we just not rendering our current click count? That would be very silly of me. In our render method here, no, corp clicks and runner clicks get lifted out of the state. Are they not being displayed properly in here? No, those are here. Wait, yeah, corp clicks. Wait, are they there at the top and I'm just blind? They are there at the top. I was looking at the wrong clicks. Someone should have caught that. All right. And then I click gain and we loop forever. What's going on there? Waiting for input corp, waiting for input paidability, paidability, waiting for input corp, waiting for paidability, paidability. Why is that happening? Because the input is still gain? Why does that not just run down our clicks? Right? Like we click on the corp action, it resolves. It's not resolving though. We didn't gain any credits and we didn't lose any clicks. That button there should do something that isn't infinite loop. Let's figure that out. Okay. So where does it get to? It gets to resolution. Take action. We're definitely calling the turn structure here. So our clicks remaining is not less than 1. We got back a take action. Well, we shouldn't get back a take action. We're not taking. Oh, we get back the take action because we're still holding the button down because the buttons are like not one shot properly. Okay, I need to actually implement buttons not just being held down and actually clearing after they're done. So I think the problem here. Oh, but then it should still be spamming the action, and we should still see clicks go down, credits go up. Right, like this take action here. Take action actually like pushes make payment into the resolution stack. And so we should see a load of stuff asking us to like do that. I mean, it'll auto resolve, but it should still print because waiting for input shows even if we auto resolve, as you can see by all of the paid abilities flaring off. You know what will be interesting to look at? Let's look at that pass ends. Yeah, so the only place it should be true is when we're passing. Here. Yeah. Otherwise it's always false. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand why we're not. Because this here should get called, right? We're using a paid ability as part of all of this. Let's see that thing fire off a load. Mulligan, gain a credit. Okay, that's firing off a load. We are pushing into our resolution stack. That we need to make a payment, and that when that payment is done, we have to resolve the instructions of the paid ability. So, what's going wrong here? It's as if we're not getting the input for that, which is really odd. Did I miss a continue in our game code here? So here, every time we step the resolution, we should be told what we're waiting for input. Continue. So that means just like loop back around here and see what the new input we need is. Take action. If the button is pressed, if the button is one of these two things, it's this one. Then step the resolution by taking an action and continue. Right. Are we... No, because we make it past that. We make it past that. And taking that action should push new stuff onto our resolution stack. Wait, I'm really confused. Hold on. State.resolution stack.len. Can we just see what that is every loop, please? Like, how are we overflowing that somehow? Let's see what we get. So we get 3, 3. What 3 things? Mulligan, shuffle. Okay, yeah, we need to actually just see what's in the stack, I think. Show me the resolution stack. Okay. So current stack is Mulligan, Corp, Mulligan, Runner, 10 game clips, Corp. Mulligan. It's Mulligan, Runner, 10 game clips, Corp. Mulligan. It's currently turn, action, special, draw. Ooh. We didn't draw for turn. We didn't draw for turn. Special draw has been put underneath action. Why has that happened? Okay, and now I bet when I click this, we are... Yeah, we're just exploding this list, right? Let's go back to Len. Run that again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the stack is building itself up, but it's not unwinding properly. It's continuing to build without ever unwinding. Okay. And we have a problem even earlier because mandatory draw wasn't happening. Okay, let's solve the problem with mandatory draw, and hopefully that also solves the problem with the next bit of the stack. Because we should not be getting to this code that adds stuff to the stack while there's still like unprocessed state going on, right? So let's figure out what happened with that mandatory draw being eaten. That's probably the easiest thing to start with. So we'll work it through. So loads of stuff happens. The stack eventually makes it to Mulligan, Mulligan, Corp Mulligan, Runner Mulligan, turn game click. That seems correct. That feels very functionally correct. We resolve the Mulligan. And a load of stuff happens, and eventually we make it back to the stack being Mulligan, Mulligan. We Mulligan again. And our action got above our special draw. Okay, let's go ahead and look at turn game clicks. So game clicks is going to resolve in sequence, paid ability window, refill recurring. Refill recurring is going to put turn begins on. Turn begins is going to put on a paid ability window and then turn action. So before that, we get paid ability war turn action. So special draw got put underneath it. What's adding special draw right now? Because I would have thought special draw 1 for Corp. That is the Corp's draw for turn, is the special draw 1 for Corp. And that's what gets added by what adds that? Nope. And I mean, yeah, the resolution of special draw must add that, right? Yeah, so special draw resolves here, and it just does the draw manually. When is special draw being given 1? When we mulligan, we give it 5. We start the game here. We queue up a load of stuff. Yeah. So here we're queuing up like shuffle, special draw 5, special shuffle, special draw 5, mulligan, mulligan, turn game clicks. Okay. Mulligan. If you take the mulligan, we shuffle and we special draw 5 more. Okay, that all is coherent to me. And then if mandatory draw must fire draw, and then draw is firing special draw 1. Yes, okay, so it's this draw here of 1. Okay, so we resolve our special draw of 1, and that gets pushed. Now, how's turn action getting above it, though? That's what's confusing me. Like, turn action should be underneath it, right? Because where do we put turn action on? We put turn action here. Resolve turn begins. We resolve in sequence mandatory draw for the Corp. And then mandatory draw applies the effect. Applying the effect adds special draw. Right. I see. We shouldn't mix apply instruction effect with adding stuff on, is what I'm learning from this. Apply instruction effect, because it doesn't apply immediately. It does apply immediately. Wait, hold on. Effect apply. But mandatory draw doesn't apply immediately because it's deferring into special draw, which is a whole step thing. Okay. We need to make an apply effect step that just calls this with any effect. Which is kind of what instruction is under the hood. Like resolve instruction. Under the hood of resolve instruction down here. It calls resolve instruction, which calls resolve instruction, which calls resolve instruction, which calls apply effect. But the important thing here is because drawing shouldn't actually require using special draw is the thing. Special draw is just a placeholder that needs to be part of the timing structure so that we can enqueue it. Is that true? If I remove special draw, what shouts at us? Let's figure that out. That's probably a good place to start. So if I remove special draw, then we can't tell it to shuffle, then draw 5. Okay. That is a problem. We would have to be able to, we would just have to queue the effect up after the shuffle, because shuffle needs an input, right? So the whole problem is that we need to be able to take an input and then do the thing. I think here we should have resolution step apply instruction effect as a special thing, and then it is kind of let's just, for now, we'll bring back special draw. And then in here, instead of putting a mandatory draw on, for now we'll put on a special draw. That doesn't feel good. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But it's purely because mandatory draw calls draw, and draw, instead of resolving immediately, issues a special draw. So let's just fix that. Let's just fix the draw action. Okay, here's the actual solution. Just fix draw 5 head. That's my conclusion. What's this complaining about? Okay. Let's just fix draw 5 head. Got it. So when you issue the draw instruction should not perform a special draw. At least it shouldn't perform a special draw through a resolution step. It's fine to just call this directly though. So let's, for now, for ease, because again, I'm not looking to implement all of the like move to the set aside zone and all of that stuff for drawing cards just yet. That can stay on the to-do list until it matters. So for now, instead of the draw effect doing that, the draw effect can do this. The player is side and the count is kept. And this always returns resolved because it can never not. Okay, so now drawing is fixed. Mulligan, mulligan. We drew for turn. Okay, we fixed the problem with drawing. This is still blowing up the stack, though, for some reason. Annoying that fixing one didn't fix the other. Was kind of hoping that this would be one of those situations. Okay, so now we are left needing to figure out what is causing this infinite chain of adding stuff to the stack. Well, let's have a look at what's in the stack, right? It's getting big, but it's a make payment and a make payment and a make payment. Okay, we're blowing up with make payments, and all of the make payments are to then resolve the basic action to gain. But we're not actually doing any of the make payments, which is the weird bit. And again, is this because of immediate instruction effects versus anything else? Yeah, because play here pushes to the resolution stack, and the resolution stack is deferred. Right, yes. So what's happening here is the basic action pushes to the resolution stack immediately, and then we're pushing on top of it like a fool. So what we actually need to just do is fix that, and we can do that in turn action here by saying we want to resolve action, resolve in sequence, pull action, take action. This take action here is the problem. Because we don't actually want, because taking this action here outside of the kind of queued up stuff is the problem. So what we actually want to do is we want to resolve in sequence taking the action. Do I just need a step for taking an action and all of that stuff? I can just put more stuff into the step stack. That's not an issue. I think my problem right now is it's very poorly defined what I'm doing as an instantaneous effect like this and what I'm doing as a queued effect like this. Now, queued effects for timings make sense. The problem here is that this instantaneous effect produces a queued effect, and it's producing it. Yeah, okay, so I think if I just put this after, it will fix itself. Because now it will resolve this first and then this sequence of paid ability window and this. But I hate this ordering, and I need to figure out a better way to handle the whole like back to front versus front to back representations. That would have also been a fix for our turn action of just swapping them around. So now mulligan, mulligan, gain a credit. And you can see we went up to 3 credits and 0 clicks. Went up to 4 credits and 0 clicks. And the reason it's spamming is because our held button is still the button that gains clicks, and it only knows whatever the last pressed button is. We need to implement a mechanism where it kind of resets the last pressed button if it didn't do anything. Haven't done that yet. You can see gaining clicks works. Yeah, that works. Okay, nice. We drew a lot of cards. That's the full turn timing done. What time is it? How long have we been going? We have been going for an hour and 40 minutes, and we have the whole turn timing implemented. Love that. I think that went so much quicker than I expected it to. I think I need to have a big long think about how I want to handle this problem of instantaneous resolution versus deferred resolution. And the answer is maybe all resolution just needs to be deferred. Like, we should never be doing this. We should always be doing this. And that makes a lot of sense. If that is the case, though, I want a nicer API for it, because currently the options are either queuing everything back to front or having to put everything in a list like this, where really what I want is I want to have the ability to insert as the next thing that happens in the current logical group, which is not fun for anyone, actually. That's horrible. How do I... It's a tricky one. I mean, it works. The code works. It's just about how do I want to structure it, right? How do I want to structure what I code to make my life not awful? That's a question I don't know the answer to. Let's have a think about it. Uh, Part of me maybe thinks that we should just never do things that are not sequencing in here. In which case, we should probably encode into the resolved status the sequence we want to re-add. Okay, that's actually the solution, because we should also never re-add anything unless we return a resolved sequence. So that is the refactor solution, is that the status of resolved actually needs to do a bit more work for us in how it currently works. Because currently what happens is waiting for input. So currently what happens when we get the next input is not in the visualizer, in the actual core game logic. And we call step resolution, is that step resolution pops off whatever's currently resolving, tries to resolve whatever's it just popped off using the input. Then, if we are waiting for input, we re-add this. Otherwise, we yield back the and then no matter what, we yield back the status of resolved or waiting. Now, really, step resolution shouldn't have resolved or waiting. It should have resolved or waiting, but its resolved should be empty. We need kind of an internal resolution status that we then say, if that's the one we get back, then instead of pushing back on the next resolution, we push on the sequence that you wanted to expand it into. And then we can do things like our cleanup command for terminal that's going to run through the stack and wipe out any turn timing stuff and make sure that we're immediately progressing to the next turn. Okay. Yes. So the good solution is to expand the way that these resolution steps are taken to try and model better what this actually means. Okay. Let me start working on that then. I'm going to take a quick break first, just like a 5-10 minute break, and then we should be good to try and get that done. And we're back. So I figured out how I want to solve this problem, and the answer is that step resolution can return resolution status, but resolve with should return next step, which is a thing a bit like resolution status, but not quite. So next steps can return waiting for input, or it can return in order, and then a list. Vec, I guess, is the easiest way to do this, of resolution step. Okay, and then the other side of this is we shouldn't be doing immediate effects at all. We shouldn't be activating instruction effects. Instead, we should be queuing timing instructions. That makes a lot more sense, I think. Resolution step needs to now implement ec and partial ec. And also hash, apparently, for some reason. I'll visit that at some point. Okay, so now we have in order, or next steps, and we want to change resolve with to return next steps. And then we want to change this to match status. If it's waiting for input, then input, we say resolution status waiting for input is the return. And we put that back on top. Otherwise, if it's in order sequence, we do self dot resolve in sequence, but we should be able to get rid of this resolve in sequence. And sequence like that would work if then followed by resolution step resolved. Resolution status resolved. Okay. And both of these are sum. That's that rewritten to work. Okay. I'll try and keep eating noises to a minimum, but I did just get some crisps. If I rip this out, that'll tell us everywhere we're using it, and I can review if they're needed. There we go. So is this needed? Where do we call sequence from in here? Probably nowhere important. Okay, let's just do away with this nonsense. It does not need to be ec partial ec hash. Okay. Okay, so now it's just complaining that none of these return next steps. They all return the old thing. These have got our resolve in sequences. Okay, so that's a nice straightforward fix. There was no resolve in sequence outside of resolution, which is what I was hoping to see. I think I'm actually going to take a little break again. I don't know. We made good progress there. I want to eat the crisps I just picked up, but I'm also in a flow state. It is a dilemma that I'm not sure how to solve. I've done some soul searching. The answer is chip now, refactor in a bit. Back in a little bit again. All right, let's get back on this. There's a lot conceptually I want to fix, but we're going to start with what's easy and doable. What's easy and doable. Going through all of these and changing their resolution status to next steps. Okay. Because like all of this should really be an effect. Yeah, so the purity side of things is that like game state should actually be kind of immutable here, and we should produce effects through producing instructions. But that's cumbersome. So for now we'll just do things raw. Like in here, we can just do all of this stuff immediately. And then say next steps nothing. Okay, so this is the saying there are no further steps. Next steps. Now here we have a next step, and the next step is to overinstall. And we have one in choose as well somewhere, right? Yeah, here. So here we actually have this as a next step. Okay. Yeah, ripping out remove in sequence should flag all of this stuff. It's kind of weird that it hasn't. This is hooked up. It's all the stuff that's accessing resolution stack directly that is not flagging as an error. That makes sense. Okay. Okay. That's that done. Next up, instructions. Okay. That's that one fixed. Next up, mulligans. Next steps. If you chose to mulligan, then our next steps are to shuffle or special draw. Otherwise, our next steps is actually to do nothing. I really hate this representation of do nothing, but it's the best I can do quickly. We'll fix it later. We'll fix it later is kind of the story of this project. That's why we're on rewrite number 5, but we're actually in a really good place now. Yes, again here these are the last things that happen in all of these, so I can just remove this return statement and make sure every branch returns something useful. So this one here should be in order. Just the paid ability window, queued for next. And then if the count is 0 and we're not at pass ends. Sorry, if the count is 0 and pass does end, then we're actually just not adding anything to our queue. And then here is where we are passing priority, which means we need to do retain priority. Pass end's still true though. Right? No, pass end's false. This is where if we do a thing, we retain priority. Okay. That should be that done. And then this one here just needs to be changed to next steps. Okay, that's that done. Payment. Switch to next steps. Input. So this is if you declined an optional payment. Then we want to return whatever is in when unpaid, which would be when unpaid dot. So when unpaid is an option here, into it dot collect, and that's going to collect into either 0 or 1 elements. That's actually even nicer code. Okay, so if declined an optional, do whatever you do when we're unpaid. If we can pay, pay, and do what we do when we pay. Okay, nice and straightforward, but here we replace when unpaid with when paid. It's nice how the code that is correct simplifies the code. That's a nice property for this code to have. And then here, if we can't pay with everything, then yeah, so if we are unable to pay, this will need rework as there's much more complexity to what you can pay than that. Yeah, next. Then this is next steps. It's the same thing, but we just do the when unable branch. I love how changing something makes code shorter. Okay, and then if we make it all the way to the end, then we're still waiting for an input. Whatever you supplied wasn't valid. Okay, next up, playing a card. Get rid of resolution status. Next steps. Okay, if it doesn't contain chosen, yep, okay. Then here, next steps in order. This big old thing. Next up, resolve play. Next steps. Next steps in order. This thing here. And then here, next steps. Next steps in order. Nothing. Okay. That's that done. Next up, shuffling. Special draw, which shouldn't even exist. We'll rip it out later. Start game, rip out resolution status. Next steps. Next steps. In order. All of that. Okay. And then lastly, turn, the big one. Next steps. next steps in order. This is, I guess, unique for each of them, so we'll just do the match here. Yeah, that seems mostly coherent. And then here, the corp has just goes to their mandatory draw. And the runner goes to their action step. Yeah, and these like apply instruction effects need to get taken out, but especially mandatory draw doesn't do what it should do. Is the like notable issue here, because the effect queues something up, which means this paid ability window and turn action are happening before. Yep, so this is like a whole thing. How do I want to solve this? I want to solve this by having a new resolution step. By doing resolution step resolve instruction. Empty target. Source is instruction source, and we have a new instruction source that's not a paid ability or a playability. That's called timing. And a timing instruction mandatory draw. The instruction is 0, and the resolver is none, which it's not going to like. Instructions sometimes don't have a source. Okay. And then we don't want to resolve in sequence that. We want to resolve, we want to next steps in order that. Okay. Just going to propagate through that typing. Okay, that's that all propagated through. Okay, so now we're going to resolve timing instruction mandatory draw. Okay, that's how that should look. Next steps here. This one's a pain. Okay, if clicks remaining, then go to discard. So that one is next steps in order that. Next steps waiting for input. Okay, now we don't want to resolve in sequence, and we don't want to take action here. So this one here we want to swap around to What does take action? Take action does? Take action even probably can just go away. Just adds this. Cool. Let's just grab that. Put that there. Side. Side. Right, we'll do this hacky nonsense for now. Okay. It's that filled in. And then this is the action cost for the game state. Okay, that's that code. Why doesn't it like this? Because no actions currently have a cost, because that'll be a thing. Okay, hold on. Well, they will eventually need the ability to check the game state for figuring out the cost of some actions on some objects. For example, common. Some stuff has X credit costs or like variable rate credit costs. Okay, I think that's that one done. Discard. Next steps. Next steps in order. Do that. Okay. Now here, again, we want these instruction effects to happen first, so we're going to add a resolution step resolve instruction first. The targets for the instruction are target info empty. The source of the instruction is instruction source timing instruction lose clicks. The instruction is 0 and the resolver is none. So do that, then the turn ends, and we just need to add what was it? It was lose clicks. It should be lose clicks for side. Okay, that's that done. Next up. Next step. Turn ends in order. Back. Just gain clicks. Okay. That should be the whole timing structure rewritten to use next steps. Paid ability is complaining because I don't provide the game state here. That's fine. We have it here. What else is complaining? Right. We need a way to resolve a timing instruction. These are all, I think, pretty much one-shot instructions. No, discarding stuff isn't, but for now they are. Implement timing instruction. Just the game state, really. Like self in the game state. These can be copy safe. Okay. What does it need? We need to return anything for this? We need to return next steps. Doubt. We need to return resolve instruction. Result. Okay. How do we do this nonsense? Okay. Okay. No targets needed. No next instruction. Okay. So these just need. We just need to return finished at the end of this. For now. And then here we actually do the effect because this is resolve. Okay. So mandatory draw needs to. And now here, if we queue stuff into the game sequence, it doesn't matter because we're already inside of it. But I shouldn't. I should do like what happens in like paid ability, resolve instructions. Yeah, so here we actually create instruction effects. Okay, cool. So here we're going to resolve the instruction effect of TI mandatory draw. And then here we're going to apply TI lose clicks. What's the other TI one I have? Refill recurring. Okay, we should make sure that's in here too. Add debug support to this. Okay, where are we at? Just add all the things. You're just tiny, really. Okay, everything built, but I know that refill. Apply instruction effects is still happening, which is bad because this should now be resolution step. Resolve instruction. Target info empty. Source is instruction source, timing instruction. Gain click side. Because you gain your clicks and then the paid ability window opens. Okay. And then this one here should be doing refill recurring first. Okay, so now I shouldn't be calling apply instruction effects in anywhere other than in resolution. Okay, perfect. What's the issue with this? Is that we now have a new thing here. We have gain clicks side. TI gain clicks side. Okay. So that should be that fixed. So now, when this loads, we should be able to do the full turn sequence again. Mulligan, mulligan, gain, 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 gain. Perfect. And it's doing everything in a way that makes sense. It's no longer doing stuff back to front. Okay, nice. With that, it's 5 o'clock. I've been going for coming up 3 hours, 2 and a bit hours. Might call the stream here. That was everything I wanted to do today. We have timing instructions done. Timing works the way timing should work. We can play through a full turn sequence. It really is just adding in UI stuff for the test framework so that you can try more what's what I'm looking for, so that you can do more possible actions. And then it's implementing cards as we go, just card by card. Might do another stream, might just do all that off stream. Not sure exactly how I feel about that, but we'll see. This one's been really productive, so I should probably just stream again. Thanks everyone that came along to today's stream.